Good afternoon, everybody. Hope you've had a good day today. It's been pleasant weather out, waiting for the rain to get in now. Decided to play what might be the final episode of Festival of the Blades. So, for those of you who have been watching, thank you very much. For those of you who this is your first time, you may want to subscribe to the channel because we're not on a regular playing schedule for the solo stuff. But yeah, this is me playing a solo D&D game with ChatGPT as the DM. So we're using ChatGPT 4.0. We are using a playlist for D&D music. Um, Alexander Nakarada is who the music's by. But it's not copyrighted, so hopefully that will help. But I think that's it. So we're ready to go. We'll start off with a recap from session 5 of the Festival of the Blades. Here we go.
Absolutely. Here's your full summary of Episode 5, Thorns and Memory from Festival of the Blades. Episode 5 summary, Thorns and Memory. After his victory over Lady Marilyn Duskthorn in the quarterfinals, Simon entered the semifinals of the Festival of the Blades with growing momentum and a flame that refused to flicker out. He began by preparing for his next opponent, the Shade of Nocturne, a faceless duelist from the underground city of Nocturne, known for illusions, shadow magic, and silent execution. With whispers and street intel, Simon learned of the Shade's reliance on misdirection and magical doubles. To counter this, he visited Arksteel Row, where he purchased the Candle of True Sight, a rare one-use magical candle that reveals illusions and invisible threats. He also prepared the Wand of the Unseen Step, keeping invisibility at the ready. Semifinal, Simon versus the Shade of Nocturne. At Arena 1, under the watchful eye of the crowd, Simon opened the match with reverence, whispering, "Valharan, help me," before bowing to his opponent. When the Shade split into illusory doubles to confuse him, Simon lit the candle of true sight, instantly dispelling the illusions and exposing the true Shade to the entire arena. What followed was a tense and punishing melee. Simon pressed forward with his scimitars, drawing first blood, while the Shade retaliated with surgical strikes. The duel swayed back and forth, each blade flashing under the candle's cold, revealing light. When the Shade attempted to retreat and bait Simon into a trap, Simon punished the movement with an opportunity attack, landing a brutal counterblow. As the Shade staggered, Simon delivered a critical strike, uttering, "In Valharan's name, stay down," before knocking his opponent unconscious with a clean and decisive blow. Victory. Simon. Simon was declared the winner of the semifinal match and advanced to the grand final of the festival. He was awarded 300 gold pieces, a finalist's writ, placing him in the official history of Virelion. Widespread renown and admiration from nobles, warriors, and commoners alike. Preparing for the final. Simon learned that his final opponent would be Sir Albrecht the Stormblade, a two-time champion wielding a storm-infused greatsword and clad in enchanted half-plate. Known for thunderous strikes and overwhelming force, Sir Albrecht would be the most dangerous opponent yet. To prepare, Simon returned to Arksteel Row and negotiated with a blacksmith named Targun to purchase the Cape of the Skybreaker, an enchanted cloak granting advantage on saving throws versus lightning and thunder, and a daily Featherfall reaction. Simon also convinced Targun to include the Skybreaker's Knot, a bonus item that allows Simon to retaliate with a powered-up attack after resisting storm damage. The night before, Simon returned to the Rose and Raven Inn, attuned to the Cape, and went to sleep, ready for the final challenge. The fire within him was no longer just memory or vengeance. It had become conviction, stoked by the voice of Valharan and forged in battle. Simon's current loadout, Cape of the Skybreaker attuned. Skybreaker's Knot, passive. Wand of the Unseen Step, 3 charges. Candle of True Sight used. 414, 14 GP remaining. Full hit points, full spell slots, and fully rested. Simon now prepares for episode 6, the grand final, Fire Against the Storm. Let me know when you're ready to begin the final duel.
Okay, so first thing is we're going to take a long rest. Now, I'm ready to go, but want to get up early enough to run some intel on my final adversary. Get more information for my match after eating breakfast.
Excellent. The fire rises, and now it wants lightning. Morning of the grand final, Festival of the Blades, Epi 6 begins. The city of Varelian wakes before dawn, for today is the grand final. Trumpets cry out from the stone towers. Banners in every color flood the breeze. Merchants open early just to say they were open at sunrise when the champion walked past. Inside the Rose and Raven, Marza greets you with a serious nod and a plate she clearly planned just for this day. Breakfast of the Ember, spiced sausage wrapped in pan-seared bread, 2 fried eggs with cracked red pepper, thick sliced pears poached in wine and herbs, black tea strong enough to wake the dead. You're going to need all of this if you're planning to chase thunder, she says. Intel gathering, Sir Albrecht the Stormblade. After breakfast, you head back into the city's quieter corners, where bards, bookmakers, and ex-gladiators trade truth behind wrinkled scrolls and flasks of regret. You find Telren the Thin again, the old scribe who's been tracking every fight. When you tell him you're facing Albrecht, he exhales slowly and pulls out a tattered folio. What you learn about Sir Albrecht the Stormblade. Titles: The Stormblade, Hammer of the Sky, the Thunder Duke, he hates that one. Equipment: wields the great sword Tempestrand, forged from sky iron and enchanted to crack with thunder or lightning on command. Wears half-plate armor etched with storm runes, giving him resistance to lightning damage and allowing him to ignore difficult terrain. He's hard to slow down. Battle style: aggressive opener. Starts every match with a powerful charge or leap attack, usually trying to end things quickly. Rotating elemental strikes. Can switch between thunder and lightning infused swings. Uses a war cry once per match, forcing opponents to make a constitution saving throw or be deafened and staggered for a round. Frequently attempts knockback strikes, trying to send opponents flying before closing in for the finisher. Weaknesses: his heavy armor makes him vulnerable to precise multi-hit attacks, especially from agile melee fighters like you. His war cry doesn't work well against those with strong mental focus or high constitution. He struggles if his momentum is broken early. Anything that staggers, slows, or confuses him will throw off his rhythm. Can't see in magical darkness. Though he has good instincts, he's not trained to fight blind. Telren lowers the scroll and leans in. He fights like a storm rolling off the mountains. If you let him choose the pace, you're done. But if you cut the wind out of his lungs early, even storms have to fall silent. Simon's intel advantage. You now have detailed tactical knowledge of Albrecht's weapon, armor, and storm charged fighting style, his war cry, elemental damage types, and mobility, his vulnerabilities to precision, disruption, and pressure. What's next? Would you like to visit a vendor one last time? Strategize your opening move based on this intel, or head to Arena 1 for the final battle. Let me know how you want to close the distance between Simon and victory.
Okay. I would like Simon to visit a vendor that sells magic items.
Ha. Final walk through Arksteel, one last edge before the end. The streets are alive now, drums echoing from every courtyard as the grand final draws near. But Simon walks with purpose, cutting through the chaos and noise toward Arksteel Row, the city's famed lane of forge masters, artificers, and arcanists. Word of your duel with the Shade and your victories before that has clearly spread. As you approach, vendors fall silent for just a moment, watching you pass like they're seeing a blade walking in human form. You stop at a stall covered in violet silk and burned rune scrolls, manned by an elder tiefling with mirrored eyes, and incense curling from her belt. Final match, is it? She asks without turning. You'll want something that gives you just enough edge to survive the part where he tries to split your soul in two. Hat, specialized magic items available. Final selection, budget 14 rupee unless negotiated. Since Simon only has 14 gold pieces, most powerful items are out of direct reach, but the vendor offers you 3 matched legal items within your range or potentially negotiable with barter, trade, or favor. Elixir of Rooted Will, 10 GP. Drink as a bonus action. For the next minute, advantage on Constitution saving throws, resist his war cry. You cannot be knocked prone or moved against your will. Ends early if you fall unconscious. One use. Storm Splitter Oil, 12 GP, apply to a weapon as a bonus action. For your next Cha 2 attacks, you deal an additional 1d4 lightning damage and ignore resistance to lightning. Useful for punishing Sir Albrecht's own armor enchantments. Yeah. Sunstone Eye Charm, 15 drop P. She'll take 14 drop P from you for the final fight. Worn on your collar or weapon. Once, when targeted by a blinding light or thunderous force, you may ignore one condition: deafened, blinded, or frightened. Passive item, burns out after use. She gives you a crooked smile. I'm not selling for gold today, Flameborn. I'm selling for stories. And I'd rather say my charm was at your throat when you cracked the storm in half. Quick summary. Item, cost, effect, Elixir of Rooted Will, 10 GP, advantage on con saves, immune to being shoved or knocked prone. Storm Splitter Oil, 12 GP, plus 1d4 lightning on next 2 attacks, ignores lightning resistance. Sunstone Eye Charm, 15p, discounted to 14. Negate one condition, blind, deaf, frightened. Once. Which item does Simon choose as his final edge before the grand final?
Simon will purchase purchase an elixir of rooted will. So that's 10 gold.
Elixir of Rooted Will acquired. The tiefling's mirrored eyes flash approvingly as you point to the small amber vial nestled between pouches of ash and stardust. Good choice. That one was brewed under a still sky, made to keep your spine steady when the heavens roar. She takes your 10 gold pieces, leaving Simon with 4 GP. The elixir is thick and herbal, stored in a small corked crystal vial with a copper wire wrapping. When held, it seems to vibrate subtly, as if already resisting the pull of the storm. Inventory update. Elixir of Rooted Will. Type, potion, no attunement. Use, bonus action to drink. Effect, 1 minute. Advantage on constitution saving throws. Cannot be knocked prone. Cannot be pushed, moved against your will. Ends early if unconscious. Perfect for resisting Sir Albrecht's war cry, his thunderous knockback, and his opening charge. The vendor bows low. Now go. Let the storm scream, and show them how fire answers thunder. With your preparations complete, the final hour approaches. Would Simon now head straight to Arena 1 for the grand final? Stop to say a few words to someone, Marza, a fellow fighter, etc. Reflect alone briefly before the last fight begins. Or is he ready to step into the arena and face Sir Albrecht the Stormblade?
Elixir of rooted will. Elixir of rooted will. Kidoki. Simon will reflect on Valheim and meditate before the match starts.
Quiet before the storm, a moment with the flame. You find a quiet alcove in the stone corridors beneath Arena 1, where even the roar of the crowd becomes a distant hum, like thunder still forming on the horizon. You kneel in silence. The cape of the Skybreaker rests lightly on your shoulders. The Skybreaker's knot snug against your arm, the elixir of rooted will warm in your pouch. But it's not your gear you focus on now. You close your eyes and reach inward. At first, there's only stillness. Then, like coals in the dark, you feel it. The ember. The piece of Valheron's flame nestled deep within you. It doesn't speak in words, it speaks in conviction, in memory, in fire that will not be forgotten. You focus on that warmth, not burning, not blinding, steady, sharp, yours. And just as you're about to rise, you hear a whisper, not from the ember, but from within your own thoughts, given shape by the flame. You are not the storm's equal. You are what the storm fears in the dark. Go show them why. You open your eyes, the roar of the crowd returns, distant but rising. The final match waits, and Simon is ready. When you're ready to enter the arena and begin the grand final, just say the word. Festival of the Blades, Episode 6 continues.
Simon is ready to enter the arena and begin his fight.
Arena 1, the grand final begins. The gates groan open. Light floods the tunnel, blinding for a moment before your eyes adjust. The sand has been freshly raked, glimmering with streaks of elemental glyphs burned into the ground. Overhead, dozens of streaming banners unfurl in the wind, bearing your name, your symbol, your fire. The crowd is massive. Every seat filled. Rooftops brimming. 1,000 voices rise. Simon! 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 You walk forward, calm and sure. Across the field, the other gate slams open, and out steps Sir Albrecht the Stormblade. He's enormous. A mountain of a man in engraved storm rune half-plate, lightning crackling between the joints. His greatsword, Tempestrend, rests across his back, already humming with storm energy. He doesn't speak. He just raises the sword in salute, then slams it into the sand, sending a rippling shockwave that rakes through the dust at your feet. The judge calls out, "Combatants, step forward." You both approach the center of the arena. By decree of the Council of Blades and the Archmage of Verelion, this grand final shall be fought to yield unconsciousness or magical incapacitation. Combatants may use all legal, magical, martial, or divine abilities. No mercy will be demanded, only honor. The judge looks to you. Simon of the Ember, do you accept these terms? Then to Albrecht. That's Sir Albrecht the Stormblade, do you accept? Both nod. The judge backs away. The crowd falls dead silent. Begin on 3. Begin on 3, 2, 3. Sir Albrecht's sword erupts with lightning as he surges forward, crossing 20 feet in a single armored leap, opening with his Stormburst charge, trying to smash into you and end the fight before it starts. Simon's response. You have a split second to act. You can drink the elixir of rooted will now as a bonus action. You can brace for impact and try to withstand the charge. You can dodge, move, or try to intercept him mid-leap. You can use the wand of the unseen step to go invisible immediately. 3 charges remain. How does Simon answer the storm?
Simon will drink the elixir of rooted will as a bonus action.
The will of the flame, rooted against the storm. As Sir Albrecht hurtles forward like a living thunderclap, you unstopper the elixir of rooted will and down it in a single practiced motion. The potion is bitter, earth and iron and ash, but it hits instantly. You feel it anchor you to the arena floor. Your legs lock, your spine straightens, your heart doesn't quicken, it slows, focused and calm. You are the mountain beneath the storm. Elixir of Rooted Will. Active minute, advantage on constitution saving throws. Immune to being pushed, knocked prone, or forcibly moved. Just in time. Sir Albrecht's Stormburst charge. Impact. He slams into you with the full weight of a man made of iron and rage, swinging Tempest Rend in a horizontal arc, aiming to strike you, blast you backward, crush your opening momentum. Rolling attack, 21 to hit. But that's a hit. But you are not pushed. You are not knocked prone. You stand your ground. Damage incoming. Albrecht's sword strikes you power. Rolling damage 12 slashing, 4 lightning equals 16 total damage. Your armor sears, your ribs rattle, but you hold fast. You don't move an inch. Albrecht's eyes narrow. Stubborn little flame. It's now Simon's turn. You are within melee range of Albrecht. You have your action, movement, and reaction. The elixir remains active for 9 more rounds. What does Simon do? Scimitar strikes? A spell? Wand? Or something else?
First off, 16 damage. And let's see. Firebolt does 1d10. Opportunity attack. 2 weapon fighting. Action surge. I'll just attack him with 2 scimitar attacks. Attacks twice with his scimitars.
The Ember answers, twin blades against the storm. Still smoking from the impact, feet planted firm in the sand, Simon strikes back. No hesitation. Your scimitars flash upward in twin arcs, one low toward the knee gap in his armor, the other a rising slash toward the exposed runes near his ribs. The crowd leans in. You can hear nothing but your breath and the sound of steel seeking blood. Roll to hit. Roll 2 attack rolls, 1 for each scimitar. Wastrel 1d20 plus proficiency dexterity modifier for both. Let me know if either is a natural 20. Let's see if Simon carves through the storm's shell.
Simon rolls a 23 for the first attack and 13 for the second attack.
One finds the mark, one deflects off steel. Your first scimitar slices in low, slipping past a gap in Sir Albrecht's rune-etched armor, hitting clean and drawing a flash of sparks and blood. Your second strike, though well aimed, clangs off his shoulder plate with a shower of blue sparks, his armor deflecting it with a grinding hiss. Albrecht snarls, not from pain, but from realization. So, you bleed storms too. Roll damage. For the successful first attack, roll Stasha 1d6 plus your dexterity modifier. Let's see how deep Simon's blade cuts through the thunder.
Simon does 5 points of damage.
5 points of slashing damage. Steel draws blood from the storm. Your blade bites through, carving a shallow gash along Albrecht's thigh just below a glowing storm rune. Blood spills, and the rune sputters once, flickering for a moment before stabilizing. Sir Albrecht grunts, grounding his stance again, but now with a new tension behind his eyes. This wasn't supposed to happen. You just proved you could break through the armor, endure the storm, strike back. Situation update. Simon, 5 damage dealt. Elixir of Rooted Will active, standing firm. Sir Albrecht, wounded but strong, now aware you're not going to be an easy finish. Sir Albrecht's turn. With a growl, he twists Tempest Rend upward, gathering crackling energy around it, and unleashes his war cry. A burst of thunder roars outward from his armor, like a detonated sky aimed straight into your soul. War cry. Simon must make a constitution saving throw, but you have advantage from the Elixir of Rooted Will. DC 15. Roll 2d20 your constitution modifier, take the higher result. Let's see if the Ember can hold firm against the cry of the storm.
Constitution. $18. I rolled an 18.
Simon stands. The flame does not flinch. The war cry erupts, a blast of pure thunder that cracks the air around you. The crowd reels. Dust explodes from the sand. Birds take flight from the city's towers. But Simon, you do not move. You don't flinch. You don't blink. You don't even look impressed. The elixir pulses in your blood. Your breath stays steady. Your ears hold the pressure, and your spine holds the flame. Sir Albrecht's eyes widen. Just a bit. Well then. Outcome, you succeed on the con save. You are not deafened, not staggered, and not affected by his war cry. Skybreaker's not triggers. You resisted lightning thunder, so once this turn, you can choose +2 to your next attack roll or +1d6 bonus lightning damage on your next successful weapon hit. Declare it before your next attack lands. It's Simon's turn. You're still in melee range. You've just tanked his war cry. The arena is stunned, and you are still rising. What does Simon do? Strike? Spell? Wand? And do you want to use your Skybreaker's not bonus now?
Simon will use the Skybreaker's knot for the next 2 attacks with his scimitars.
The flame strikes back, lightning in the blade. Still wreathed in the energy of your triumph over the storm's cry, Simon. Simon moves. Your grip tightens around the scimitars. The skybreaker's knot around your arm flares with a brief pulse of white-blue energy, crackling from your elbow down the blade. You don't say a word. Your blades will do the talking. You strike twice, back to back, blades singing with the power of storm turned against its master. Roll to hit, scimitar attacks. Roll 2 attack rolls, 1 for each scimitar. Add your normal bonuses, and let me know if either is a natural 20. We'll add the plus 1d6 lightning damage to the first successful hit from Skybreaker's Knot. Let's see if Simon sears the storm.
Okay, so 2 scimitar hits. Simon rolls a 23 on his first attack. And 23 for his second attack.
Shad, 2 strikes, no mercy, no miss. Both scimitars hit, clean, precise, relentless. The first blade slashes across Sir Albrecht's midsection, lightning crackling from the Skybreaker's knot, a spark of power surging through the strike, turning steel into storm. The second blade follows immediately, carving beneath the edge of his pauldron, slicing through the plated armor with a howl of torn metal. The crowd screams. Albrecht staggers. And for the first time in the tournament, roll damage. 1. First attack, roll 1d6 plus dex modifier. Scimitar damage, add plus 1d6 lightning damage, Skybreaker's Knot. 2. Second attack, roll 1d6 plus dex modifier. Let me know the totals for each attack. We're about to see how hard Simon just struck the storm.
Okay, so the first melee damage is 7. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Simon does 12 points of damage from the scimitar, and the Skybreaker's knot. The second damage roll was 7 points of slashing damage. Come on now.
19 total damage. The storm is shattered. The first scimitar tears through Sir Albrecht's armor just as the lightning from the Skybreaker's knot erupts, searing his flesh, overloading the runes etched into his chest plate. They flare, then fail, sputtering into smoke. The second strike lands just a heartbeat later, slicing through the exposed chain at his underarm. Blood sprays, and Albrecht lets out a sharp, involuntary grunt. He staggers back a step, and for the first time in the entire festival, the Stormblade bleeds openly, loudly, in front of everyone. The crowd is on fire. Simon! 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 Sir Albrecht drops to one knee for a moment, catching himself on Tempestrand, crackling now with unstable energy. He slowly rises again, but slower now, heavier. That was well struck. But I'm not done yet. Status. Simon. Dealt 19 damage this turn. Elixir of Rooted Will still active. Albrecht. Badly wounded. Storm armor sputtering. Blood running from 2 deep cuts. Sir Albrecht's turn, snarling, he channels the storm one last time. He raises Tempestrand overhead, charging it with lightning, and brings it down in a massive overhead strike meant to cleave through everything. Rolling attack. Natural 20. The sword slams down like a falling tower. Critical hit incoming. Rolling 46 plus 4 damage. Crit exit 46 slashing equals 16 plus 4 equals 20 slashing damage total. The blade explodes into the sand, carving a furrow 5 feet deep, and slams into Simon's shoulder, splitting armor and igniting pain across your back and side. You remain standing, but barely. The crowd gasps, some rise to their feet, others fall silent. Will the flame survive? It's Simon's turn. You're wounded. Albrecht is barely holding himself upright. One more clean strike could decide the match. What does Simon do? Strike? Cast? Surprise tactic? Your next move could end it.
20 points of damage total. I think I'm gonna cast Toll the Dead. Regain 2d4 plus 4 temp hit points. Toll the Dead. Simon will cast Toll the Dead for his action.
The bell tolls, and the storm trembles. Bleeding, scorched, and staggering from the crushing blow, Simon doesn't lift his blades this time. Instead, he stands tall, eyes locked on Sir Albrecht. You raise your hand slowly, not to strike, but to summon memory. The flame inside you pulses once, and the air grows cold. A low, hollow bell rings across the battlefield, not from above, from within the Stormblade himself. Sir Albrecht's body tenses, like a man reliving every blow he's ever taken, every wound that never healed, every failure he buried beneath the thunder. Sir Albrecht must make a wisdom saving throw. Rolling. He rolls a 13. Failure. The storm can no longer hold its silence. Toll the dead damage. He is already wounded, so roll 2d12 necrotic damage. Let's see if this bell brings the storm to its knees. Roll and give me the total.
2d12. 19 points of damage. Simon does 19 points of damage.
Hash. Toss 19 points of necrotic damage. The storm breaks. The bell tolls, a sound that cuts not through air but through soul. Sir Albrecht's legs buckle. The lightning in his sword snaps and dies, flickering out with a gasp of blue sparks. His storm runes go dark, one by one, as if memory itself is unwinding the man from the inside out. He drops Tempest Strend into the sand. He takes one knee, then another. The mighty Stormblade, the two-time champion of Verilion, the man who has never yielded, falls forward onto both hands, gasping. He tries to rise, but the flame within you presses down like a final judgment. And finally, he lowers his head. I yield. Victory, Simon of the Ember, champion of the Festival of the Blades. The crowd is silent for just a breath, then it erupts. A thunderous roar floods the city. Simon, Simon, Simon! Confetti rains from the upper balconies. Drums shake the walls. People chant your name as if it's a prayer. Across the arena, the judge steps forward, arms raised. By fire, by steel, by storm endured, Simon of the Ember is named champion of the Festival of the Blades. Rewards and honors. Title earned. Champion of the Festival, prize gold awarded, 1000 GP. Writ of Glory. Grant Simon a permanent place in Verelion's Hall of Champions. Access to the Champion's Vault. A selection of rare magical items for victors only, TBD in next scene. And most of all, your name is now legend. End of episode 6. Fire against the storm. Simon has faced shadows, thorns, memory, and thunder, and now stands alone at the summit. Would you like a summary of episode 6 to continue with a post-match scene and receive your Champion's Vault reward? Or to end here and return later? The arena belongs to you now, champion.
Well, let's see. First off, I get 1,000 gold. Okay. I think I want to go to the vault. Continue with a post match scene to get my reward.
Post-match, the Hall of Champions. You're led through the inner sanctum of Arena 1, past guards in gold-trimmed armor and marble reliefs of champions carved into the stone. Musicians echo through the archways, playing your name into memory. At the end of a long hall, a great iron door engraved with blades, stars, and laurels swings open. You are escorted inside by two silent wardens, robes deep violet, masks silver. The air is cooler, thick with old magic and ancient respect. Inside is a circular chamber lit by braziers of white flame. At the center stands a stone pedestal upon which rests a carved obsidian chest, the Vault of Champions. One of the wardens speaks. You are permitted to choose one item from the champion's vault. No more, no less. The vault knows what has been earned. He opens the chest. Inside, laid out with reverence and glowing faintly with enchantment, are three magical treasures, each distinct. Shashed. Champion's Vault. Simon's final reward. Choose one. Scimitar of the Ember Crown. Weapon scimitar. Requires attunement. Plus one weapon. On a critical hit, the blade erupts in flame, dealing 1d8 fire damage. Once per long rest, you may speak the name Valharan and wreath the blade in fire for 1 minute. While active, all attacks deal plus 1d6 fire damage and shed bright light in 20 feet. Flame goes out early if you are incapacitated. Mantle of the Flame Forged. Wondrous item. Requires attunement. A flowing half-cloak of ember-threaded fabric. Grants resistance to fire damage. When you are reduced to 0 HP, you instead drop to 1 HP once per long rest. A burst of flame erupts, forcing all enemies within 5 feet to make a dex save, DC 15, or take 3d6 fire damage. Pendant of Recalled Truth. Wondrous item. Requires attunement. Silver pendant inscribed with the three-eyed raven. Once per day, after failing a saving throw or attack roll, you may re-roll it immediately. Additionally, you are immune to illusions while wearing the pendant. Glows faintly when a creature nearby is actively lying. The warden speaks again. Each gift bears weight. Choose not what makes you stronger today, but what keeps the fire burning tomorrow. Which item does Simon choose as his champion's reward?
I'm thinking the pendant or the sword. Or maybe the cloak. I don't know. Immune to illusions, glows faintly when everybody actively lying. Resistance to fire. 1d8 fire damage. I think I'll take the scimitar. No, the mantle of the flame forged. Of the flame forged.
Pensha! The mantle of the Flame Forged, claimed by the champion. You reach into the vault and your hand closes around warm, ember-threaded fabric. The mantle of the Flame Forged is light, almost smoke soft to the touch, yet it hums with restrained energy. As you lift it from the velvet lining, the white braziers around the chamber flare briefly to orange. And for just a moment, the fabric shimmers like a cloak of flame held in stillness. You swing it across your shoulders and fasten the burnished clasp. It fits like it was made for you. The vault closes with a soft finality. The warden bows. The fire remembers you, champion. Item acquired, Mantle of the Flameforged, requires attunement. Grants resistance to fire damage. Once per long rest, when reduced to 0 HP, you instead drop to 1 HP and release a fiery burst. All enemies within 5 feet must make a DC 15 dexterity saving throw. On a fail, they take 3d6 fire damage. The mantle flares with radiant heat when this happens. Your final stand leaves a mark. You step back into the city's daylight. The arena crowd still roars. Your name is being carved into banners, written in song, etched into stone. But now, you walk not as a contender, not even as a hero. You walk as the champion of the Festival of the Blades. Burns hotter than ever. End of episode 6. Fire against the storm. Let me know when you'd like a summary, or when you'd like a summary, or when you're ready to begin the next chapter in Simon's journey, wherever the flame takes him next.
Let's see. Mantle of the Flame Forged. Okay. How long have we been playing? Almost an hour. I would like Simon to take a long rest before beginning the next chapter in his story.
A restworthy, a champion, the night after the storm. You return to the Rose and Raven Inn, where your usual table now bears a gold trimmed plaque. Reserved for the champion. Marza greets you with tears in her eyes and no words. She just places a bowl of spiced stew, a glass of dark honeyed wine, and a key to the champion's suite in front of you. That night, your bed is soft. The wind outside hums like distant applause. The mantle of the flame forged hangs over a chair, glowing faintly in the candlelight. You lay your head down with no fear, no weight, just the steady warmth of a fire inside you that will never die. Long rest completed. All hit points restored, all spell slots and class features refreshed. Skybreakers not recharged. You are attuned to the mantle of the flame forged. Simon awakens as champion, not just in name, but in truth. The next chapter awaits. When you're ready to continue Simon's story, whether he stays in Virelion as its protector, departs on a greater journey, or uncovers the deeper mysteries tied to Valherin, I'll be ready to walk that path with you. The flame has only just begun to spread. Let me know when you're ready to begin the next adventure.
Alright, so I took a long rest. Okay. I think that will do it for today. We'll pick up with episode 7 after a bit.
Sounds perfect. Simon the champion has earned his rest, and when you're ready to begin episode 7, the world will be waiting. New paths, new enemies, and the deeper truth behind Valheron's flames still flickering in the shadows. Until then, I'll keep the arena doors open and the fire warm. Catch you soon, champion.
All right. Well, that'll do it for today. If you made it this far, thank you very much. Like I said, it'd be great if you could like the video or comment. Definitely subscribe so you don't miss anything. I'll probably try to play again next week with this. It all depends on what's going on. So until then, everybody have a great day and talk to you later. Bye.